Hello, everybody. I wanted to do a quick live stream about tomorrow's workshop about advanced organizational design for the people that are interested in this workshop that is happening tomorrow in East Boston at 6 p.m. If you're not in Boston and are unable to come tomorrow but want to get a recording, there is a sign-up form in the event so that we can send you the video recording once we have it. But I wanted to take a chance to explain for the people that are interested in this workshop about what the workshop is, what are we trying to do, and so forth and so on. So I'll get started. So I've been running organizations and building organization now, I think for now 12 years of my life. I've been in organizations probably now for 17 years, working in organizations from at any level, local, neighborhood, citywide organizations, statewide organizations, national organizations, and even got a chance to work internationally with many organizations as well. So I've been able to see, kind of organizations at every scale. I also have been able to see organizations, because I'm part of the INE Institute. We train people in all over really the country and the world in any kind of issue: housing, climate change, immigrant rights, criminal justice. I also get to see the different issues that people are reacting, also different kinds of organizations that are doing political work, organizations that are doing social work, organizations that are doing art and culture, organizations that are doing economic work like cooperatives, alternatives. I've been grateful to be able to see and observe a lot of things, right? And observation, it's important to be able to see the difference and also the similarities, because in INE we have trained at this point thousands of people. I think we're in the 5,000 or 6,000. And it's kind of hard for us not to see the patterns that people emerge. And what I want to share today with you, and we're going to share more in the workshop tomorrow, but it's just so you understand what we're trying to do tomorrow afternoon, is that is the first pattern that we see is that there's a lot of people working in the organization, but not on the organization. So let me tell you what I mean by that. By in the organization is that people are working on the accounting, on the operations, on the fundraising, on the campaigns, on the developing of team leaders, on making sure the budgets are running well. They're making sure that there's good programs running, there's good projects development, that there's good communications, that there's good development of bringing new people in. All these kinds of functions people are working in. And the people that are not in an organization, it's hard for them to understand how much it takes to do in an organization. And I think particularly for the people that are the leaders of the organizations, the ones that are really making big decisions or are really leading other stuff, it's really complicated work, right? So a lot of people are working in the organization, working hard, but then very few people are working on the organization. What do I mean by that? Is that, well, you can be in and be caught up in busyness because the work is never going to end eventually. You can get caught up into that. How many times are we taking the time to step back and work on the organization, meaning on the systems, on the culture, on the procedures, on the purpose of the organization, on understanding first where are we going very clearly, short-term and long-term, and what are the barriers in our current state as an organization that don't let us get to that place, right? So what is that about? What are the problems, not just at the surface level, like we don't have enough staff or we don't have enough money. Well, why is that in the first place? And is there larger strategical things from our organizational perspective that we need to change to achieve that, right? So that's working in the organization, on the organization. And in the trainings that I lead, I spend significant time fighting organizational directors and leaders to take an afternoon, to take 3 days, to take a month off in order to really design the organization and plan the organization. It seems like people have an antithesis to planning, like, oh my God, how can I let the work is going to drop? Every organization needs time to go through a winter organizationally and repair the organization, regenerate the organization, and that takes time, right? And for me to have a good week, you need 2 hours of planning. If you want to have a good month, you need at least 1 or 2 days of planning. If you want to have a good year, you need at least a month of planning. That's just the basic, and if you want a good 10 years, you need at least a year of planning. So these are some of the basics of working in and on the organization that I think are important. Okay, but if you do choose to work on the organization as well and do the plan of planning, designing, thinking strategically, thinking about the function of the organization, then we have to understand how to design an organization. So tomorrow, we're going to try to give you a tool that I use to design the organizations I've been part of. As some of you know, I've been, I founded a lot of organizations. A lot of organizations are still running that I'm not part of anymore, actively. I support them, but I'm not in the day-to-day operations, but they have a vision of the people that I co-founded them with, and so forth and so on. So tomorrow I'm going to give you the tool, and based on the tool, we're going to learn 2 lessons, I hope, that tomorrow that we get in. Lesson number 1 is that the organization is designed as a response to the geography or the environment that is operating. So most of us are operating with organizational blueprints, like maps of our organizations that somebody hands it out. We need a board of directors. We need this kind of thing. We need this other thing. We need this other thing, based on models that are either not in your environment or not in your strategy, and also that are outdated. Like if your organizational model is 60 years ago, the world is very different than 60 years ago. It's moving at a different speed, it's dealing with different problems, has other sets of complexities. So we need to redesign the organization, and that takes a process of redesigning and then operationalizing that design. For that, we have to become designers. So I say it always to directors of organizations that we must become designers if we are going to be organizational leaders, because we're dealing with problems of design, of form and function, right? Well, what is the function? Form follows function. So what's the function first, or the purpose of the organization? If that's not clear, then what you're building is not clear, right? It's structure precedes strategy. So you need to have clarity where you're going to know what you're building, right? If not, it collapses. So tomorrow we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to address organizational design at 2 levels, which are important. The first level is the level of infrastructure, which is what should I be building at what time? Should I be building this certain program, this training program, this leadership development program? Should I be getting a building? Should I be getting this? Infrastructure questions, things that are visible, that we can touch, that we need to build. So a lot of things are infrastructure questions that we need to solve. I know some of them are short-term, some of them long-term, but they're more physical, more visible questions that we have to solve. And a lot of people are thinking about infrastructure, but very few people are thinking about what's within, which is the internal stuff, which is the culture of the organization. What are the values of the organization? What is the worldview and perspectives of the organization? What are we building internally in the culture that sustains the infrastructure? I know that's because we have structure and culture kind of coming together, but the culture is first. So tomorrow we're going to be addressing those 2 issues. So if you are a person that is in an organization and wants to take leadership in an organization, if you're a director that is beginning on your journey, if you're a director that are experienced and want to kind of like have an update on your skills of other perspectives, join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. It's a free event. We're doing a series of workshops. If you look at the INE Institute events calendar, there's political intervention, there's one on community organizing, there's one on the Indian independence movement. We have all these different things coming up throughout the year, because we're just a little training institute, a little school for people that want to get engaged in social movements. So please come join us. We're trying to offer this stuff. It's an event where everyone is welcome. Just RSVP, because we do have a limited space. We can only fit, I think, about 25 to 30 people in our space to join us. But I would love to see you all tomorrow, for the ones that are able to make it, particularly because I know that there's a lot of good people in the organizations, but there's good people but poor structures. And people feel sometimes imprisoned by the structures. The structure itself doesn't let you do what you need to do. So we got to change that. We got to redesign. So my hope and my challenge is that you come and join us tomorrow, or at least if you don't join us, please take the time to work on your organization, which I think we all need it, so that we can achieve greater justice and a better world for everybody. That's the mission that we're all in. So I'll let you go. Follow the link, and I hope to see you there tomorrow. Take care.